right, I think that we will go ahead and kick things off. Hi, I'm Sheryl Belson, and I am on your board of directors, and I will be helping Erica today with moderating the questions. So just a couple of things to let you know. This is actually being done in a webinar format. So if you've been to our National Neighborhood Group sessions before, you've seen a little different format. You've seen all of the people in little squares that are joining, and the webinar format will actually only show you from the presenters. So that's why you're not seeing the exact same look. The other thing I wanted to clue you in on is that all of your questions will be submitted through the Q&A function, and that's going to be at the bottom of your screen. So if you just click that and type in your question, I'll be helping Erica at the end of this session to go through as many of the questions as we're able to. So I think that that's all the housekeeping. I want to welcome you to this group, National Neighborhood Group. Our topic is how to use a personal croquis to design clothes for your body and style. And so I'm excited to introduce Erica to you. Erica Schmitz is the founder of MyBodyModel, and that is a website that makes customized fashion drawing templates based on your measurements. And it all started because she wanted to draw her sewing ideas, and she was frustrated that she couldn't find any fashion illustrator templates that really looked like her. So she began development of MyBodyModel in 2017. MyBodyModel offers printable and digital fashion sketchbooks that are made to your measure. Erica says she wants to increase visibility and appreciation of the wonderful diversity of body shapes and help women have more fun and confidence dressing their bodies in a way that expresses their own unique personal style. Erica lives in Portland, Maine, with her husband, her almost teenage daughter, and their very fluffy rescue dog. So Jessica, welcome. We are thrilled to have you with us today.
Thank you so much, Sheryl. It is such an honor to be presenting in front of this group today. It's kind of been a dream for a couple of years now. So thank you so much. And thank you also for that introduction. As you mentioned, MyBodyModel really came out of a need that I identified. It was a product that I wanted for myself. When I first started sewing my own clothes just about 5 years ago, I was so in love with the idea of designing my own clothes. I could make whatever I wanted, just the way I wanted for my body, and not have to rely on what I could find in stores. And really love that idea that I could be my own fashion designer and my own model. And at the same time, I was coming out of a long period of injury and illness over a couple of years, and sewing clothes for my body felt like a thank you gift to my body that had been through so much. So I really wanted to honor my body and not try to sew for myself in a way that didn't honor my body. So it just didn't make sense to me when I looked for design tools, because I'm a very visual person, to be drawing my sewing ideas on a long stretched out figure that didn't look like me. I was able to find some more realistic fashion drawing templates, but none of them looked like me. And I kept thinking, this has to exist. There has to be something like this out there. And I would Google search for it, and nothing. I asked my sewing friends, does this sound like something you would like? They said yes. I asked my knitting friends. They said, yes, please do this. We did a Kickstarter crowdfunding campaign in 2017. And MyBodyModel was actually made possible because we had that crowdfunding support of more than 700 backers, nearly all women, who wanted to see MyBodyModel and our body positive mission become a reality. So it's real, it's here. Thousands of people are using it, which is so exciting. And I'm excited to share with all of you some different ways that you can use templates, croquis of your own body to plan and design your sewing projects, to plan and design an intentional coordinated wardrobe, if that's in your goals. And also for those of us who may be thinking, oh, I can't draw, that sounds like a great idea, but I can't draw. I want to share just some very simple step-by-step tips to prove that yes, you can draw. I think that if you can write, you can draw. And if you sew your own clothes, you are a fashion designer. So those are the two principles that we'll be working, basing everything on today. I want to switch from just kind of this talking head mode over to my drawing table, where I want to share some resources with you, some different ways to use MyBodyModel or your own fashion drawing templates of your body. And then we'll do a little drawing sketch-along. And for those of you that have already downloaded and printed your body model pages, any of the pages will work fine for this exercise, but I will be using the one model per page, which is page 10 of the printable project planner. So with that, I will move over to my table. All right, here we are. Before we begin, I wanted to share some resources that we have available from the MyBodyModel website. These are free resources, and a lot of you I know have accessed them already. I just wanted to mention them. One of the most important things for getting an accurate body model template for drawing is entering your measurements. There's a few measurements listed, and it's very fast form to fill out, but we created a detailed measurement guide that's printable, and you can also just view it on your computer or phone, but it has photos and instructions. Some of us prefer to print things out and write them down in pencil before entering them on the computer. So there's lots of tips, and then the form also has optional adjustments, so there's detailed instructions about those in the measurement guide as well. Wanted to mention that. And then the other thing that's kind of fun, that's available to everyone for signing up for our newsletter, is a free printable of 24 sample hairstyle drawings, because hair sometimes can be a little bit intimidating to draw. So we wanted to offer lots of different options, different hairstyles. We also have some scarf options and head coverings. And that's just as a starting point for you to be able to personalize your body model croquis before you start sketching. And I wanted to share what the templates look like. So you enter your measurements, then you can preview it and edit it, make sure it looks right. And then the purchase includes a printable sketchbook, which has, it's 15 pages total, including the cover and table of contents. But it includes lots of different page formats, like lots of little figures on a page, includes, this is one of my favorites, 3 figures on a page. There's a couple of project planner layouts. Get a good example of this one. So this would be a good sewing planner layout. There's space for your fabric swatches and things like that. And then there's also front and back views on every purchase. We thought it would be important, especially for those special design details, like if you have a scoop back neckline or something like that. It's fun to be able to draw the back. And there's also, just for reference, on the last page, it includes your measurements just as a reference in case you ever need to go back and change anything. So that's just a sample of what the product looks like when you purchase it. And there's a few different options on our website that you can have choices of. There's the arms down position, which is great for beginning drawing because it's much easier to draw on a figure with 2 arms down. And then we also have a figure with a hand on hip, which is fun for drawing sleeve details and things like that. This is a sample of our hand on hip pose. And you can also purchase in different line colors. These examples here are in the black outline. Personally, when I sketch, I like to use a light gray outline so that I can use it as a reference guide. But then once I'm done drawing, it's almost like you don't see the lines of the body underneath. So that's nice. But a lot of people like to have the strong outline for their sketch. So that's an option. And then I wanted to show a couple of examples of ways that I've used my own body model. So here is an example. I was trying to plan this sports bra and leggings ensemble, and I had this sports bra pattern that had 3 different back options. They're all super cute. Oops, let me show. So there was the lots of, I hope you can see this on your screen, but there was the lots of cross back. There was a basic kind of T-back back of the sports bra, or this simple double cross. And that's the one I ended up choosing, but it was helpful to see them side by side before making that decision. And also I wanted to play around with different color blocking options because there were all these different panels, and I was also short on one of my fabrics. So I wanted to see what it would look like all in one solid gray color. I had not enough of the dark gray, so I wanted to see, do I want the black to be on the outside of the panels, or do I want the black just to be the band and the straps? So that's just some really super basic examples of how to use your sketch on an outline of your body to test out different design ideas. Even following the pattern exactly, there's still so many different design decisions that you make. I think infinite design decisions that you make for any given garment, even one as simple as a sports bra. I wanted to see what it would look like just in black with the gray band there. So that's an example. And then I also had some uncolored. And what I did here is a little trick or hack. Once I drew the one that I knew that I wanted, and I wanted to play around with different color blocking ideas, I just ran photocopies of it so that I could color in different colors and not have to redraw every single time. So that's just one small tip. So that's that example. Another example is using, I love to use the 3 models per page layout to compare different views of a pattern, or if you have lots of different garments and if you have some tracing paper, it's fun to draw the garments on the tracing paper. Say you have 3 different tops and 3 different bottoms. You can then switch them around and mix and match the outfits to see how they look together. And that's really fun and really quick. And who doesn't have scrap pieces of tracing paper lying around to play around with outfit combinations? And I don't have any to show today because the one tracing paper is wonderful, but it tends to fly away. So I highly suggest, if you do that, having a nice envelope to put your pieces of tracing paper, your little paper doll clothes into. I had some examples of paper doll clothes I wanted to show you as well. If you love paper dolls as a kid, you can make a paper doll of your own body and all the garments in your closet, or the garments that you might want to make. So here's my little paper doll. And I wanted to try out different color combinations of garments that I wanted to make. So for example, to go with these pants, and you can try different colorways and see how they work together. The other thing I wanted to test out, some of these still have like the little tab for little actual paper dolls, is say you have a fabric and 2 different jacket designs that you might want to make with it. Can I find the other one? Oh, here it is. So you have a fabric, you know you want to make a jacket, but you have 2 different jacket designs. One is kind of shorter and more fitted, and one is more of an oversized boxy fit. And you want to see how is it going to look with the different outfits, garments that you've already made or garments that you already have in your wardrobe, or you want to plan a whole entire outfit and make sure everything's going to go nicely together. So here we can see what the outfit looks like with the boxy jacket, which I love. And then we can see what the outfit looks like with the more fitted jacket, which I also love. So sometimes it can be hard if you like every option and just want to make everything. But that's an easy way and fun, a lot of fun, to try out different outfit combinations. And say I chose this one, but I want to make sure it also goes well with my wide leg pants. I can try it on with my wide leg pants and see how that would look. So try not to move things with my shaking fingers here. So that's an example where you can try out different silhouettes together and see how they work. You can figure out sleeve length, hem length. You can figure out outfit combinations. You can figure out what colors you like to go together, and all sorts. Really, it's so much fun to play. It's hard. It's a great rainy day activity, or a great activity when you just can't get to your sewing machine or you know your cutting table. It's just a nice, fun, relaxing activity. So that's an example of paper dolls. And we have lots more examples on our website and on our Instagram. And our website, our blog, has guest blog posts from so many wonderful contributors. So I highly encourage everyone to check it out for inspiration. And today I wanted to show an example of how to use a Croquis body model template of your body to test out, make decisions about what you might want to make. And also, while I do that, go over some really basic how-to drawing tips for beginners. So the garment that I chose for today's exercise is a very simple beginner coat pattern. Many of us, I'm sure, have this on hand because it is often 99 cents at Joann's. And I like this one because it's a simple design, has lots of different pattern view options. But right away, you can see here from the package that the different views are kind of hard to see because they're colored in. It's hard to see those design lines. And then when you flip to the back, it only shows the back line drawings, and they're teeny, teeny, tiny. So the first thing I do when I'm about to figure out a pattern and to make those design decisions is I look up the pattern design line drawings right away online. And usually the designer, let me see, do I have it on here? Yes, I do. Phew. So this I found on the Simplicity website, and any pattern designer website typically has line drawings of the pattern, which are great visual information. It shows all the seam lines. It's also a great way to copy a drawing because it's already been drawn for you. You can see how they've drawn the gathers of the fabric and things like that. So it's a great reference. So this is where I always start, is with the pattern line drawings or design flats. But what this doesn't tell you is where all those different things land on the human body. So that information, there's a little bit of that information on the package cover, And oftentimes on the website of a designer, there will be modeled photos so you can get an idea. But what if I don't look like this model and I don't know what will it look like on me? And also the modeled photo only shows one view of the pattern. I want to try on these two views of the pattern. So I need to find another source of visual information to be able to translate this pattern design onto an outline of my body. So what I do for that is I look online for pictures of real people, not models, who have made the pattern. And Instagram is my favorite source of visual information for this. So looking up the simplicity patterns, this one's S1067, and there were so many wonderful images of people modeling their finished coat or jacket. And I was able to find a few that gave really great visual information that I can use. So this one by 9 to Stitch is great. It's hard not to try not to look at the pattern. We want to just see the lines of the garment and where they land on the body. It's great information to see the perspective and the scale of the different design elements on a human body, on a human that has made the pattern. This one also is a great reference by Sea of Teal, made the jacket. And because this is a full body photo, I get all sorts of great information. For example, where the hemline ends on her body for this shorter view of the pattern. And I see how long the sleeves are. And of course, on every body, it's going to be different, but it's just great helpful information to know how to translate that pattern onto your body. And oftentimes, looking up the information online, there will be notes that the sewist wrote about any modifications that they made. And oftentimes it's wonderful if they have information about, for example, how tall they are and their measurements and things like that. This example, this gorgeous velveteen jacket by Meg at Cookin' and Craftin', is a great example, and it's also full body, so you can see where everything lands in relation to her body, but also on her blog, because she's got a blog, and you can find wonderful blog posts about almost any pattern that's ever been published. She mentioned that she had lengthened the jacket length by 2 inches, so that's helpful information as well. So these are what I'm going to be using as reference points. I'm going to draw these 2 short views of the pattern. We're going to call them A and B, and I'm going to draw them on my personal body model. And if you've printed yours out, I would love for you to draw along. I went ahead on mine and pre-drew some hair just because it's nice to have that as a touch, but it's a lot of people will even sketch without drawing hair on their body model, and that's fine too, or you can draw it on later. And I hope you can see the lines. This is the light gray, which I like because it allows me to have that visual reference of where the different body parts are, and I can outline it, but I also don't really see the lines underneath the drawing. So it's a nice balance. It's really a matter of personal preference, I think, how dark you like your lines to be and what your eyes see best, and also how your printer works best. The other thing that I love, and a lot of folks starting out drawing on their fashion illustration templates use a pencil, and that is wonderful. You can make light strokes and kind of erase as you go, and then after you're done, you can go over the lines in a thin black pen, which has a really nice effect. I'm a little bit lazy. Sometimes I like to have immediate results. So my favorite tool is an erasable pen. It has a nice black line. It's a Pilot Frixion pen, and it comes in a couple different sizes. But it's wonderful. That's the one I did those other sketches that I showed you earlier. And this is my absolute favorite tool. What I'm going to be using today so that the lines are easier to see on the screen is a marker version. And some of us have the Frixion marking products for marking our fabric and patterns. And this is a product made for paper, and it's erasable. It's an erasable marker. It has a little nub on the top that uses friction to erase the lines. So that way I can go ahead and draw my bold black line, but I can also erase it whenever I want to, which happens often. That's okay. And then the other thing I wanted to mention before we get started is the purpose of these drawings isn't to make an amazing work of art to hang on the wall, unless that's your goal, and that's perfectly okay. The goal for me and for a lot of us using this tool is to be able to make decisions, design decisions about what you're going to make. And it's a tool, it's a visual tool. And so even sometimes just a quick 3-minute sketch gives you all the information you need. Some people like to go in and really do detailed, draw all the flowers in the print and things like that, which is wonderful too, if that's something that you enjoy. But if you're on the practical side and just want a quick sketch to make those design decisions, that is also a wonderful option. That's how I'll be using it today. I'm going to draw both versions sort of quickly, and then we'll vote as a group on the call, which will be so much fun, on which version you like the best. So the other thing before we get started, and there's a lot of things to pay attention to before we get started, and you would, as you would with any sewing project, is what is the fabric, and how much body does it have, how much drape does it have, how fitted or loose is the garment, how much ease does it have built in. Those are all things that you pay attention to that inform how you're going to draw it on your model. So the first one I'm going to draw is, you see here, but we're going to call it A. So I'm going to label it right at the top here. This is coat version A, and I'm going to use as my reference here. And sometimes you can print these out. I just happen to have it up on a tablet to make it easy. So the letters already are confusing me. We're calling it A, but it is view C right here on the design. Oops, this is my daughter's iPad. Okay, so we have that as a guide. And we also have the modeled photo of Meg as a guide to see where everything lands on the body. So looking at different parts of the drawing, you can really start wherever makes sense to you. The place where I usually begin is the waist. And on body model Croquis, the waist, where all your measurements are taken from, is marked with a cross mark, a hatch mark. And so I'm going to go ahead and draw the belt because that gives me that information of the waist point. And I'm just looking at the drawing here and drawing it on that waist point of my sketch here. And I'm just going to make a really basic tie. And these are just really simple line drawings. It doesn't have to be an amazing work of art to give you the information that you need. So that's a belt that's tied around my body, so it's pretty close to my body. Next, I'm going to draw the outline of the bodice of the coat, and it is a coat in, I'm assuming, wool coating. And so it's going to not be really close to the body. I'm not going to draw right on those lines of my body. I'm going to draw it a little bit away, and I can see here that it's a little bit of a dropped shoulder. So I'm going to draw the shoulder line right here, and I'm going to bring it out, and it goes in there at the belt. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, a little bit of a drop shoulder, kind of goes away from the body, then it goes in a little bit. And then just like the line drawing, which is a great reference, you can call it cheating, but I call it a reference, is to copy those lines Those are just the wrinkle lines from the fabric onto your sketch. And you can draw another one here, right there. Then I'm going to draw the neckline of the jacket. And we can see that the neckline, and your knowledge of clothing construction is very helpful for drawing the garment. You have lots of knowledge and information that is helpful in the drawing. So we see here that it's a lapel. Oops. There's no collar, it's just the lapel opens. And I'm going to draw this crossover here right into the tie. And I apologize that you can't see both things on the screen at the same time. I'm just going to do this part quickly because I don't want us to run out of time. Oh, you know what? I made that too long. So in the sketches that we saw, I noticed that the hem was right below the crotch in the jacket length. And Meg from Cooking and Crafting said she added a couple inches. I'm going to draw these as the designer intended, just for today, so that it matches up. So I'm going to draw my hem right below the crotch. This line is going to come around there, and it's going to go there. So that's that side of the bodice. And then there's also this, the what do you call that? I'm losing all my words now, of course. You have this seam there. On this side, you also have a pocket. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that pocket. Goes all the way to that seam line. And draw the other side here. And I'm going to mirror this same. And in the picture, it doesn't show because it's covered by this part. Then we have the basic body of the jacket. And next, I'm going to look at the picture from Meg from Cooking and Crafting to see how this actually falls on the body, because from the line drawing, it's often hard to gauge the size of a lapel. So I'm going to make my best guess there. And it's not perfect, but it kind of gives you an idea. I made that a little bit too small, so I'm going to erase a little bit. Gives you an idea of what that will look like folding open. And then the sleeve length. And this is out of a stiff, let's assume that I'm going to make this out of a, maybe a wool Melton. And so it's not going to be super drapey. So the sleeve is going to be pretty stiff coming down, not a lot of drape. And all my lines are a little bit rounded because I'm imagining them going around the body. And there is, we'll call this jacket A. Oops, I forgot this side of the jacket. Okay, and then so that we can compare the two wearing an actual outfit, because I'm not going to be just wearing the jacket. I'm just going to draw really quickly some straight pants that are kind of tapered there to the bottom. And that way we'll be able to compare the two outfits. So there's outfit number 1. Next, we're going to move on to option number 2. And I have my sketch around here somewhere. I'm going to put this aside, and then at the end, we're going to hold them side by side to make our decision. So here we have the same outline of body. Hair's already drawn on. And I'm going to draw, I'll show you here. Oh, good. It's called B, which we're going to call it view B also. It's called view B of this jacket. And it has this dramatic shawl effect. So it's basically the same jacket. The only thing that's different is the shawl. So I'm going to start, again, the same way I did with the last one. I'm going to start with the belt at the waist. And there's a tie on one side. And I'm just gonna make the tie go down, and you can go back and erase any little parts. Like that. I'm gonna make those little fold lines, gather lines of the fabric kind of bunching up where the tie is, and the fabric kind of bunching up at the side there. Now the biggest feature of this one is that shawl neckline. So I'm going to start drawing there. And first I'm going to draw one side of the wrap, and then I'll draw the other side of the wrap. And the wrap, I can see, I'll show you, because it's basically this one, just shorter with pockets. The wrap is really close to the edge of the neck. It's not open, an open neckline. It's up close to her neck. So when I draw it, I'm going to draw it coming right from the edge of my neck, going to that knot. So that's my wrap on that side. And I'm going to go ahead and draw the shawl, which I can see in the model photo here and also in Meg's photos, that the shawl goes all the way to the shoulder, to the edge of that shoulder point. So I'm going to, let's see if this comes out on my first try. It's pretty good. Now, I just want to look at a couple of the photos to make sure that's right. Okay, so that looks pretty similar with the shawl going all the way to the shoulder and then going to a point at the knot. I'm just going to check this one too. This one's a little bit different, where the shawl fold goes a little bit above the knot and then goes straight. And then in this model photo, it also, the fold of the shawl is a little bit higher up. So I'm actually going to make my fold a little bit higher up after looking at those photos. That's what erasers are great for. And you've got your reference images, and that's what that's for. So it's a subtle shift, but I think it's a little bit more accurate. And then next, I'm going to have the wrap of the shawl coming around the other side. It's the same dramatic shawl coming in here. So I'm imagining that wrap continuing all around there. So I've got two sides of the shawl, and now I can draw the rest of the jacket. And a wonderful hack, because we know that the two views, once you get past that shawl collar detail, they're really identical. So to save time, I'm just going to put my other sketch right underneath. I'm going to put it right there. You may not be able to see the lines, but I can see them pretty easily. I'm going to label this one B, and I'm going to draw the lines just as I had them in the other sketch. I'm drawing my sleeves. Oops, I shouldn't draw the sleeves first. Actually, you should always draw this part first, I would say. It goes in here. And it kind of goes in where the belt comes in. Make them the same length. And there's that fold. And then, whoops, that came out terrible. I think it's okay. So if you're doing this with a pencil, you can do your light strokes and then go over them afterwards and get it just right. So let's say that's the other side. And then we draw our sleeves. And I'm going to draw the pants. Oh, you know what I need to make sure to do is these seam lines here. They're very important for the design, and I actually can't see them on this side very well. The other point to use as a visual reference is the bust line. So on the croquis and on the modeled photos, you can pay attention to different reference points on the body, like the neck, the wrists, the elbows, the knees, the bust line, things like that, to figure out where to draw your other lines in relation to it. I'm going to go ahead and draw the pants. I'm going to try to make them as close to exactly the same as I can. Just straight tapered pants because it's cold weather. Don't want my legs getting cold. And there we have it. I'm actually not happy with this line right here. I feel like it curves in a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so here we have two views. I'm going to fold this so we can see them side by side on the same screen. We have two views of the same pattern. You can also try this if you have two jacket or coat patterns or dress patterns or any kind of pattern and you're trying to make a decision between the two of them. You can sketch them out. The 3 models per page is great for this, but sometimes it's nice to draw things big. And here we have garment A and garment B to make a decision. And I'd like you to picture this in a rich red wool melton coating and tell us in a poll that we're going to post which of these you think I should make, because I actually do have a beautiful red wool coating for making this jacket. So I would love to know your feedback. Do you prefer the fold over collar in option A, or do you prefer the dramatic shawl collar in option B? So we'll give a few seconds for folks to go ahead and vote in the poll. Tell me what you think.
Erica, the votes are just rolling in.
Oh, good. It's so much fun. And I can also, while we wait, I can just, sometimes it's nice to just outline the other parts of the drawing just for it to be a little bit more finished. I'm doing this one in my thinner pen. So I'm drawing my hands, and this is just outlining what's already there just so that it looks a bit more finished. And then I usually draw things in a thinner pen, but for the purpose of this video, we wanted to make nice bold lines. So we'll pretend I'm wearing some nice boots.
So
these.
Erica, while you're filling a few things in, just FYI, a couple of people have noticed that you put the pocket on A, but you didn't put the pocket on B.
Oh my goodness, you all are so good. That is so important. It's hard to really compare. We can't make an accurate comparison. And the other thing is I forgot to draw the pocket on both sides. Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna make the pocket go out a little bit there. There, that's better. Phew.
If we're gonna get really ticky dot, there's on B, there's 1/2 of one sleeve is not drawn, but I think
these are the things that happen on live video. Thank you. That's a really important. How can you vote properly? Make an accurate diagnosis of your favorite jacket if one of them isn't finished. All right. How's that?
I think that we have everybody that's going to vote has voted. So I think we can share the results. And
okay, there were some votes for choice A, but I would say it's overwhelmingly in support of view B. Thank you. That's the one I'm going to make. I think that's a great idea. I love the fold over shawl detail, but I also like the other one. So sometimes it's hard to decide, and I've also seen people post questions on Facebook or Instagram where they're trying to decide what to make with a very precious fabric, or they need a dress for a special event and trying to decide which one to make. So sometimes we can be the one who decides, of course, what we want to wear, but it's also a really fun way to get feedback from other people too. So that was fun. Thank you. I also wanted to mention a couple things. I love just keeping things black and white, just simple line drawings. You can decide so much. The next step I would do with this drawing, if we had more time, is I would redraw it but I would do the longer view because I do have enough fabric to do the longer view, and compare those side by side to decide, do I want to make the shorter jacket version or do I want to make the longer coat version, and make design decisions that way. And then once that's all set, it can be really fun to color. And coloring is a lot of fun when you're doing the paper dolls also, because you can play around with different outfit combinations and things like that. And you can get as fancy or as not fancy with your coloring supplies. A lot of people just steal their kids or their grandkids' Crayola crayons and markers and color pencils. But there's also, wonderful sketching markers like Prismacolor is one brand that are just amazing to work with and so much fun. So you can really get into it. But that is the basic presentation.
Yeah, Erica, you have given us so much of a fun presentation on how to do this. We do have some questions, and we've got about just less than 15 minutes remaining. So why don't I feed you the questions and let you answer a few?
Perfect. I'll go back to my other camera. I'll just be one moment.
Okay, so we have someone that asked if you could provide a little more specifics on how to access the hair templates.
Sure. It's an email that will go to you automatically. It should be instant when you sign up for our newsletter. Either on our website, you can sign up for the newsletter. There's various spots on the website where you can do that. And also, if you create an account with MyBodyModel to go in and test out, enter your measurements and things like that, you'll also receive it automatically. So if you didn't get the email, the thing to check is sometimes it gets filtered into promotional emails, or it may have gone into your spam folder. It is one of those automatic emails that goes out. So you may need to search for it in your email spam or promotional folders to find it. But if you didn't receive it and just can't find it, shoot me an email and I'll just send it to you directly.
Great. Now, we had someone that was asking if it might be useful sometimes to put an item with the drawing. So whether it's like a car or a refrigerator, something to give scale to things. Do you think it's worth doing that, or is that just not necessary?
I've never seen that done. It can be really fun to draw things like your handbag or hats and scarves and accessories and things like that. And then if you start playing with the paper dolls or drawing different accessories on your scraps of tracing paper, it can be a lot of fun. It's really, you could, I guess, if you really get into it, you could make a little background scene for your paper doll. That would be a lot of fun. I've never seen anybody do that, but that would be really adorable to draw some trees and you're walking down the street wearing a nice outfit. That could be great. Speaking
of your email that you talked about earlier, I've had a couple of people that popped in right as soon as you said that I didn't see. Can you provide your email address so if they do need to send something?
Yes, absolutely. So the email address, if you run into any questions at any time, is help@mybodymodel.com. And so those go directly to me. So there it is.
All right. Now I've got a couple of people that asked about specific fit issues. One person says their fit issue is their stomach area. Another person said their fit issue is their backside. So the question is there anything other than a front-only view that could give some depth of perspective?
Yes, so we added, I think it was last year in our updates, we added a back view. So your printable sketchbook has several of the printable options include that front and back view. I can go grab those and show those. So that way you can play around with the front and the back of a garment. And we designed those, both the front and the back. We had more than 30 testers ranging in age from their 20s to their 70s. And we took into account all sorts of considerations, and different body shapes and sizes and ages are really accounted for in the program and how it generates the image. But there are sometimes some fine tuning that you'll need to do. It's not going to be perfect for everyone because everybody is so different. So that's really what the free preview image is for. So you enter your measurements, you see the free preview, and from there you can decide, do I need to make some edits to the measurements? Or do I need to go into some of those optional adjustments? Do I need to move? I had to move my bust line down slightly. A lot of us do. That's one of the optional adjustments. There's also instructions for moving your bust outward or inward. And there's some hip curve adjustments and thigh curve adjustments that are optional and that I recommend working with after you see your basic preview. So there's the required measurements. I recommend seeing your basic preview before you go in and fine tune. And some of the fine tuning measurements will be like magic. You'll be like, oh, it fixed it. That is exactly me. That's perfect. And sometimes the fine tuning measurements would be like, oh, that actually I liked it better before. And you can unclick that and go back to your original preview model before you purchase. So that's what the free preview is for, so that you can fine tune as you need to make sure you're really happy with it before you get your printable sketchbook and things like that.
Well, Erica, that's a perfect segue into another question from someone that says they purchased the Croquis and the neck came out very long, and says that she doesn't believe that we took measurements for the neck length. So can you edit something like that?
Neck length is in there. It's one of the measurements. So the neck length would have been very long because that would be the number that was entered. And ideally, that sort of thing would be something you catch in the free preview so that you can go back and edit it and fine tune before you purchase. But sometimes people will purchase their body model before realizing that it wasn't quite right, or that there was a typo in one of the measurements or something like that. So if that's the case, just get in touch with me and we'll figure it out.
Okay. All right, there's a couple of questions about the paper doll segment, a portion of the segment that you did. The one question is, do you actually make paper doll pieces of clothing for your own planning?
I do. So the one I showed is one that I made for myself. So I wanted to draw some of the garments that I already had in my closet, and I wanted to plan garments that would coordinate. And I also, that jacket example was a real life example. I had the fabric, I had a couple of patterns I was trying to decide between. And it was such a tough choice because they both look great. One was a more kind of traditional unstructured blazer, and one was more of a boxy jacket. And I wanted it to look good with a straight leg or tapered pants, but I also wanted to be able to wear it with my wide leg pants because I love my wide leg pants. So I was able to make that decision. I ended up going with the more traditional blazer, unstructured linen blazer, but more of a traditional blazer shape for that one. I still do want to make the other one though.
That's fun. What weight of paper do you use when you're doing that?
So for the, you can just regular printer paper works perfectly fine. And you can print out, so if you want to make the biggest size, you can print out, it's page 10, is just the outline of one model facing forward. And you can print out lots of copies of that one and draw the clothes and then cut them out. Or you can print one to be your paper doll and then trace the other garments over it. So if you trace over your Croquis or your paper doll in black ink, or if you purchase the black lines, it's pretty easy to trace over with regular printer paper. But it's even easier and I didn't have actual tracing paper to show you, because every time I make little clothes out of tracing paper, it's so much fun, but they end up everywhere. You wave your hand and it goes flying. But I highly recommend it because it's so much fun and so quick. And you can see so easily the body outline underneath when you're drawing the garments. And the other nice thing about tracing paper is you don't need to cut them out exactly perfectly. You can just kind of cut out the general outline of it. And because it's tracing paper, you can still layer the garments with each other and see that effect. So for that reason, I love tracing paper.
Perfect. And now you mentioned a few different coloring pen options at the beginning of your talk, but those particular paper dolls that you showed us had such vibrant color. Can you tell us what pens you used for that?
Yes, I will show you because I love them so much. I'm going to go grab them. I'll be right back. So one of the really fun things to do if your local art store is open, and if you're able to go in with your mask, is to check out their art markers. And art marker shopping can be almost as fun as fabric shopping because you can find the exact color that you want, and they have little notepads so you can swatch the color. You can even bring in your fabric and swatch it to see if it's the same color. The other fun thing is it's kind of like the makeup counter, where there's so many different skin tone markers. So you can swatch and get the perfect marker for your skin tone at your local art store. It's wonderful. But if you're shopping online, Amazon, I got some great markers from Amazon. And the brand that I found to be the most affordable, although it's still kind of fancy, is Prismacolor. And there's a few different sets on Amazon that I've tried. Prismacolor Premier. And they have nice colored pencils and things like that, but I really love their art markers. The thing to look for in art markers is alcohol-based. There's something about the alcohol-based markers as opposed to water-based, which is children's markers are always water-based, is that when you're coloring them in, so this is just an example of a swatch page, it's the colors are just so smooth, and you can kind of go over the same area without getting all those squiggle marks, if that makes sense. It's just a really lovely thing with the alcohol-based markers. It's also super smooth when you're coloring on tracing paper. It has a whole different texture, but Prismacolor Premier, and they have lots of little sets of colors on Amazon. Buying them in sets is a bit more affordable, and there's different color packs, so you can figure out which color packs fit with your personal preferences in color palettes for choosing. But I highly recommend checking out your local art store as well.
All right, we've got about 2 minutes left. So I think that the question that I'll ask you to answer is, there's a couple of people that have asked about what is your website and what is the price for your product?
Yes, so the website is MyBodyModel.com. And I wanted to mention, so this is a great reminder, that we have a 20% special 20% discount for ASG members. It started a couple weeks ago, and it has one more week while the replay of the video is on. And the code is ASG20, so all capital letters, ASG20, all one word, for 20% off. And the way that it works, and there's lots of reasons we set it up this way, but you can purchase credit packs, and each credit can get you a download package of your printable sketchbook. And we also have a basic download and a premium download. So the basic download is the both arms down at the sides that I showed you in my demo. And you have to choose one line color that you have for everything. For the premium, you get the hand on hip pose as well as the arms down pose. And you also get 5 line color choices, and you can go in and re-download whichever pose, whichever line color whenever you want. So the basic is 1 credit, and that's $29. And the premium is 2 credits, and that's $39. But if you expect your body measurements to change, then we also offer a multi-credit pack. So that's for folks, if you're expecting your body measurements to change, or if you have family members that you're making clothes for, or things like that, it's nice to get a multi-pack at a discount so that you can make body models for different people, or you can go in and get an updated body model for yourself at that discount by pre-purchasing the credits. And the credits stay in your account until you spend them. They don't expire. So you could buy a 5 credit pack today, spend 2 credits on your premium download, and you would still have 3 in there to use 2 years from now. When you decide you need an updated measurement one or something like that, or or your daughter-in-law asked for a special dress, and so you go in and can make her body model templates, and she can help explain what she wants for this special dress drawn on her body outline, so you can have that as a design tool to work on together, things like that. So I don't know if that helped to explain the price structure, but the goal was for it to be accessible, that it would be less than a few yards of fabric for 1 garment, to have this printable sketchbook that you could use again and again and again, and download as many times as you want to make these design decisions for all of your garment making.
Erica, this has been great. And I'm going to assume that since you gave your email address earlier, that if somebody, for example, if they bought black lines and now they've seen this presentation and they're going, oh, but now I think I should have gotten the gray lines, or they just are having any other kind of questions about how to use the product, that they could just reach out to you and get some information. Is that correct?
That's right. They can contact me, help@mybodymodel.com, anytime. And since we're running out of time, I had a couple things I wanted to mention also. Is we have some beginner drawing videos, a little bit more detailed than what I just did, on YouTube. So our YouTube channel is MyBodyModel, and you can go in and check those out. They're super step-by-step basic. And then we also have a wonderful Instagram, but we have a closed Facebook group. It's private. So if you don't want to be posting your sketches for the whole world to see, we have a private, very supportive Facebook Sketchalong group. I think it's called the MyBodyModel Sketchalong on Facebook, and it's private. So you need to answer my membership questions before I let you in and things like that. But I highly recommend folks check that out if you're wanting a place to practice and share your sketches and also see what other people are doing. It's really fun.
That's awesome. Thank you for doing the program. Thank you for the discount. And again, that discount code is
ASG20.
ASG20. So don't forget to use the discount code when you go in. And again, Erica, thank you. This was a fun and informative program.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. This was wonderful.
Thanks to all of you who joined us for the program. We hope you enjoyed it, and you'll be watching your email to see what's coming next on National Neighborhood Groups. So until next time, thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.